going to ask you some questions. This probably won't be like a typical phone interview you've done. I don't have a set list of questions that we have to get through. I'm really just looking to hear your story. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Awesome. And at some point, I might kind of like dig in and like ask you for like additional details. And I might ask a question that sounds kind of like repetitive with other things that I've asked. Really, I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting the whole story in your words and I'm not missing any information. I'm trying to kind of like build a documentary of your journey to buy this knife set. And I just want to make sure I'm getting all the details. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Terrific. So my first question will be, when did you actually buy these new knives?
Just before we started today at the
No
session.
way, just now. Okay. So today. And when you say before we started, like what was going on before you bought the, like, before we started today?
So I was finishing my work day mostly to get ready to start today. I had a little bit of downtime before our session today was starting, and I knew I had to purchase. My wife reminded me that, hey, don't forget, you need to buy that knife set. And so, yeah.
You said your
So
wife.
I went on Amazon.
What's your wife's name?
Avni.
Avni. Okay. So Avni reminded you that you needed to get this knife set. So obviously this is something you have been thinking about buying for a while. Do you remember how you found out about this knife set?
So I actually just went on Amazon and searched for knife set.
Yeah. And looking on Amazon, and was, what stood out to you about this specific knife set more than the others?
It had all the different things that I needed as a set in one place. So it made it convenient, and it looks similar to something I've had before.
Okay, so similar to something you had before. So let me ask you, like, why did you need a new knife set? How does it fit into the work that you do?
This is essentially, we're trying to set up a new kitchen, and so needed a knife set for that.
Oh, so you have a new kitchen. So did you move recently or renovate, or?
So we're planning to move.
Oh, planning to move. Okay, so planning to move. And have you already found your new place?
Yes.
Awesome. And when do you move?
On the 5th of August, 4th of August.
Oh, soon.
That's
Okay.
what we're planning as of now, in 2 weeks.
Planning to move. And so in addition to this knife set, are there other things that you're buying for this new kitchen?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So why do you need a new knife set? Do you currently have one?
So yeah, so we currently have one. It's not that good anymore, so we're not really looking to take it to the new place.
Oh, so you're going to be discarding it?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you plan to sell it, or are you going to just give it away, or?
Just give it away. It's mostly in tatters, so we don't want to fix it.
So not in good shape. And you said your wife reminded you. So this is something that you and her had discussed. Tell me a little bit about that discussion.
So basically, I'm responsible for the kitchen, given that I'm the one who's cooking and has probably more in-depth knowledge about food and what we use on a daily basis and things like that.
And was this the only thing that she reminded you about, or are there other, like, do you have like a list of things that you need to get?
She has a list.
She has the list. Okay. And did you make the list together, or did she make the list and show you?
We made the kitchen list together. And she used other resources like my mother to make the kitchen list.
Okay, your mom's helping, great. But all the kitchen stuff is your responsibility. Are there other areas of the home that you're also getting new things for?
No, not so much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just mostly the kitchen.
Okay. Why? Why the kitchen?
So because it's a fully furnished place that we're moving into temporarily. And So we just need to set up our own kitchen because that's something that doesn't come with the apartment.
Gotcha. Okay. Everything else is taken care of. So how did you decide she would do kind of the planning and you would do the buying? What was there a conversation there?
So so I actually don't do the buying. So Avni does the buying as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just identify the products that
Mm-hmm.
go in the kitchen and send it to them, to send it to her.
Right. And
And she makes the final purchase.
gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And so she had a list. When did you like tell me about when you decided you were getting rid of your old knife set? Did you have a conversation with her about that, or were you the one that said nope, this isn't coming?
So we're pretty much getting everything new for the kitchen. You know, some of the, and we're taking some of the older stuff, but not everything new, but a good portion of it will be kind of new.
Okay. And so a good portion of it will be kind of new. The knives, you said they're kind of in tatters. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So you know, it's seeming flimsy. They've been around for really long. The handle is breaking, which is a common problem that knives have.
Right, broken handles. How'd you get that first? Is it a set that you have now?
That's actually a good question. No, we don't actually have a set now, but because we probably bought multiple sets over the years
Mm-hmm.
and or individual knives over the years, and now they're you know a mix and match of different types of equipment.
Right. So it's not really a set, it's just a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
And the like the ones that you have now, was there anything you might have done to salvage those? Like, have you tried sharpening them, tried repairing handles?
So we'll probably take a few of them, which are the really nice ones, which you can sharpen and keep for a really long time.
Mhm.
But the others, which are not so sturdy,
Mhm.
we're gonna remove. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I'd really like to know, so you said you're responsible for the kitchen, and I know a little bit about your background and what you're doing for work. So tell me, you love cooking. Tell me a little bit more about how you got into cooking.
I don't know how I got into it actually, but I was about 8, 10 years old. I used to hang out with the cook in our house. I used to hang out with the mom. I was still pretty young, like in the house, and I got a hang of hanging in the kitchen, and I started enjoying food. Then I think there were a couple of. This is also probably when the satellite television was coming into India. So there were many more shows on cooking and things like that on television as I grew older.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started cooking. I started getting probably appreciation for it as a kid. I mean, I don't know. That's probably something that motivated me.
And did you ever work as a chef?
Yes, for a very brief time before I went to Carnegie Mellon for studies. And I was there for about 3 months working as an intern in
Mm-hmm.
a kitchen.
And you said so it was before you went. Did you like it? What made you end up not doing that path?
So no, I enjoyed it for sure. I don't think I wanted to be a professional chef at any point, though I wanted to be in the hospitality and the food industry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's been maybe a restaurateur, if not what I'm doing right now.
Makes sense. Okay.
Obviously, at Carnegie Mellon, you're exposed to so many new things, just a new country, new sort of career paths and opportunities. The allure of working in finance in New York City, obviously, and obviously the money that comes along with it
Mm-hmm.
is something that, and the experience. I thought it was interesting to be able to view different kind of industries and companies. So that's why I chose finance right out of college.
Makes sense. And I'm just going to do a little time. Some of you might be wondering, why am I asking these questions? Well, there's a couple reasons. One is that we're building rapport and I am getting Vedant to trust me more and, sharing more of his backstory. And I'm also interested to know a little bit more about how he thinks about himself and how he views himself and why this decision might have been the right decision for him. So some of this might feel like, oh, how's this part of the buying journey? But it's all part of it because I'm trying to really understand him more and his background that might have led to some of the decisions that he made around these knives, and just also trying to kind of like build some rapport. And sometimes little golden nuggets will come out of kind of like going back into the backstory. So I'm spending a little time there just trying to make sense of all of that. Okay, so fast forward, you're looking at your new place. Can you tell me why you're moving into a new place right now?
So I'm expecting like my second child in a
Oh,
month's time.
congratulations. I have a 6-week-old baby downstairs.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Congratulations to you as well. I mean, that's really new.
You said your second?
Yes, second.
Yeah, expecting your second. And when are you due?
August end.
August 10th. Okay, so you'll just be in before. That's perfect. All right, so then your wife is probably maybe in what they call nesting mode, where she's making sure all the things are taken care of before the new baby comes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And okay, so you're expecting your new place. It's fully furnished. That's going to save you some time and energy. And so she mentioned about the knives. Tell me if have you and her ever discussed the knives at all? Was it ever something that, was there a budget that was set, anything like that?
No, she's like,
No.
you have to tell me which knives to buy.
Right. Okay. So before this call, she reminds you, had you had any kind of idea what knives you might want? Were there any that you had kind of noticed before, any kind of brand names that you're familiar with?
Uh, I am familiar with a few brand names,
Hmm.
but honestly, my thought process was that I wanted to make a quick decision.
Hmm.
And so I knew I wanted to buy a set before I started searching. I did not want to individually choose the knives.
Can you tell me why?
Just, quick decision. Instead of making five, let's make one really good one
Hmm.
for our life.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Cannot
fewer
delay
decisions
tomorrow.
are important. Why fewer decisions right now?
Sorry, come again, please.
You said having fewer decisions to make is important. And why is it important to have fewer decisions versus 5 decisions?
Sure, because like entrepreneur life, making multiple decisions, have a time crunch,
Hmm.
can't put it off for tomorrow because one of those knives will be used on me potentially.
Right. Yeah.
So point being that I had to do it today. I wanted to make sure it's done before I get into boot camp,
Hmm.
and so I want to make a quick decision.
Hmm.
Plus, I guess there was potential when I'm thinking about it. When you're asking me these questions, there could be a potential reason to make it not very expensive because this is temporary stay.
Hmm.
We don't want to overcrowd it or anything of that sort. We just want something that's functional.
Hmm.
Will keep us through for the next 3, 4, 5 months.
Gotcha. Okay. So that was something you considered as when you were looking at knives. You're not trying to get the knives that you're going to have for the rest of your life. You're trying to get something to get you through. So you said it's a temporary stay. What's the
Correct.
plan after this place?
Move back to where
Oh,
we are living right now.
okay.
So this is just a temporary, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, okay. So and you said like for 5 months, and then where you're moving next, do you think you'll take knives with you or no?
Possibly, yes.
Mhm. Okay, so walk me through. You have a wife who is 9 months pregnant, and she's reminding you that it is time to make this purchase. And you mentioned that there's a time crunch, and if you put it off, one of the knives might be used on you. I bet you there's a bit of a story there. Have you been putting off some of the other purchases?
No, no. I'm just
No.
joking, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And so you knew you were going to come on this call today, and you had a little bit of a window of time. Walk me through, your search process. Did you go to Amazon right away, or did you do some other research?
I just went to Amazon,
Hmm.
searched for knife set. The knife set that
What
I
did you
actually found. So
search for? Do you remember? Was it just knife set or?
knife set, I think Google suggested for, oh, sorry, Amazon suggested for home, maybe.
Hmm.
So when I put knife set, I think Amazon suggested for home.
Hmm.
And then I just pressed enter, saw the sponsored. So there was a Victorinox or something of that sort, and there were fancier, chef knife sets,
Hmm.
a few of them on top. And that might be, I don't know, Amazon throwing out stuff I might have searched previously. I don't know.
Right.
But then I saw something which had all the different types of knives we needed. So it had
Hmm.
a peeler, it had a bread knife, it had a fruit and a vegetable knife,
Hmm.
and I think one or two like a paring knife or something. So it seemed really good, seemed like in a good price. The look and feel seemed similar to something we have right now,
Hmm.
and that's it.
So it looked good. Now, was there just one set you considered, or did you view multiple listings?
No, just one.
One set. Okay. Um, and so you looked at that price point wise. You said price point was good. What do you remember what it cost?
But $10.
$10 for the whole set. That's great. Um, and so you looked at that. You like how long would you say the entire purchase process was from opening Amazon to did you buy or did you send it to your wife to buy?
I sent it to my wife and she bought it.
Okay. And so that process from opening that tab and typing in Amazon through to actually purchasing that set, how much time did that take?
So probably opening, searching, viewing, looking at reviews, and sending the link probably took me about a couple of minutes.
A couple of minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you said the price was good. Like, did you have an expectation of what you were going to spend?
That's actually a really good question. No, I didn't. I was surprised to see that it was well within a reasonable range to purchase.
Right. Yeah. And what did you're going to be moving in soon? Was it important that it get here before you move, or did you ship it to the new place?
No, we are shipping it to our existing place. So yes, it was important. So it
Okay.
was a Prime. I saw the Prime badge. That probably happened subconsciously, to be honest.
Right. So are you a Prime holder, account holder?
Yes.
Yeah. And what percentage of like, your purchases would you say you end up making through Amazon?
So to be honest, I make very few purchases in my life,
Mm-hmm.
non-work related purchases in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm probably one of the worst uh, shoppers or customers, but I am pretty good at discovery,
Mm-hmm.
and so I am often given that job.
Okay, so this is kind of like in your marriage, you're the hunter for the items. That's kind of like your job. Yeah. And you make very few purchases. You say you're not a very good shopper. What would you say, why do you say that?
I mean, I'm just comparing the usage to, say, my wife,
Mm-hmm.
of Amazon or anything else for that matter.
Mm-hmm. So just not a lot of purchases. And okay, so if before you bought the knife set, you knew you needed to make a quick decision. Was there anything that made you anxious about it? Anything that might have stopped you from buying them?
Yes, I was anxious about the quality
Mm-hmm.
because it was really cheap,
Right.
inexpensive, with
Yeah.
lack of a better word. So that did worry me. Obviously, a 4 or 5 star ratings and about 50 reviews
Mhm.
kind of helped me get over that, I feel.
Right. And so did you read the reviews? How many reviews would you say
I did not. I
no,
did not read the review.
you just saw that there were reviews and that it had a high rating. Do you remember what the
Yeah.
rating was?
I think it was 4 or 4.5.
4 to 4.5. Okay.
And there were more than, I think, 40 reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like 2 reviews and they're great.
Gotcha. Yeah. And you mentioned, you didn't want it to be cheap. Now, I know that you love to cook. And so what would good quality be like for you? Like, well, how would you know that the set was a good enough set?
So brand is important,
Mm-hmm.
material is important.
Mm-hmm.
So I think these 2 things are probably the most important thing.
Yeah. And what was the brand?
So brand is a local Indian brand,
Mm-hmm.
um, which we've seen. They don't make, again, like a no chef would be using this, but it's
Mm-hmm.
basically a home equipment kind of a brand,
And
which
you
has
and
been
you
around for a bit.
recognize the brand because you said it's from India.
Yes,
Would you
yes, I
say
did.
that that's why you clicked on that one versus others that might have shown up because you recognize the brand?
No, not really. I actually recognize the more than the brand. I recognize the color combination, etc., that they use.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So it's kind of black handles with a red sort of logo kind of a thing in the middle.
Okay. And that's and you're from and this brand that's their logo. It's the black on red.
When I think about it now, maybe other brands are copying it as well. So I'm not even sure if I'm buying the original or the copy anymore.
Right. And do you know what the name of that company was? Can you remember the name of the company?
Uh, I can look it up though.
No worries, you don't need to look it up. So I'm just going to talk about this. What's interesting about that from a marketing perspective is that he remembers, he said that the brand was important and it was reminiscent of a brand that he's familiar with that's from India, but not even quite sure what that brand was or whether it was actually it. It just goes to show you how your buyers are taking in so much information when they are making a purchase decision that they're not actually processing all of it. And when you kind of like do these interviews with them, you can pull out some interesting pieces that can be really valuable for you if you're that brand. So it's like, yeah, like, is that the original brand? Is it a copycat brand? We don't know for sure, but the fact that it looked like a brand that he was familiar with and that kind of made it feel more reputable than if it would have been a brand that he wasn't familiar with. And there's some interesting stuff there. So when will these actually arrive?
I think tomorrow.
Okay, that's fast. So like next day delivery, because I guess with Prime. And if you had to narrow it down, what would you say the number one reason was you bought this particular set?
Because it had all the different things that met our requirement.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't have to purchase anything else, once
Yes.
you're done with this. If and the thought process is also that if we are missing something specific, then that can be bought separately.
Right, right. So if there isn't if there's something missing. Right. And this is obviously a busy time in your life. You're working on a business, you're getting ready to move, you're expecting your second child. Would you say that you always kind of like shop like this, kind of like in and out, like a kind of mercenary, or would you say that maybe this is a little bit different because of just how busy you are?
So it is a little different. Typically, there are things that I'm eyeing for a really long time. And those are larger purchases,
Mhm.
usually. So like I said, I'm not a very good purchase person. So I'll buy like 3 really big things in a year,
Mhm.
and those are 3 things that I have wanted for a while,
Right.
or that's the typical shopper that I am.
Yeah.
Even for example, for even if it was non-COVID and non-online sort of shopping, then it would be that I would be on a holiday for 3 days and I'll buy stuff that I need for the whole year.
Right.
So
Right. That's funny. And so you have some familiarity with kitchen equipment, having, worked as a chef and being a passionate cook. Is there anything about the kitchen kind of equipment space, anything that you find kind of like annoying or cliche, like anything about that world that kind of bugs you?
No, not really.
No?
Uh,
And
no, kitchen is great. I do get bugged by people following recipes to the T
mhm,
around me because I don't like following recipes. And if someone asks me which recipe you followed, or did you follow the recipe I sent you, uh, or if my wife wants me to cook her something and she's like, I found this great recipe, please follow it. That's
mhm,
the only thing that bugs me probably.
right. Um, and okay, so I guess my last question for you is, let's say that you had a friend who is looking for a new knife set and you wanted to convince them that they should buy this one. How would you tell them to buy it? What would you say to them to convince them to buy it?
I would probably be like, just buy this one and don't think about anything else because this has everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, awesome. And knowing that my goal is really, I work for this knife set company. I want to make sure we can sell more of them, find more great customers like you. Like, is there anything that you think I should know?
Uh, that you could probably have another set which has one or two more things.
What things were missing from that set, if you remember?
So maybe like a bigger knife was missing
Mhm,
that you would want also, that could be uh, to go along with this, one
mhm.
of those chef's knives. Otherwise, everything else in this is ideal.
Right, yeah. And so what specifically might you say to your friend then? Like, if they were buying this knife, if you can just kind of like,
To be honest, most people are not using the chef knife
mhm,
in their daily cooking, not in India at least. so so I wouldn't say anything to my friend unless he was an avid cook as well.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what a chef knife is. I bet we have them, but we have a lot of knives. I don't even know what they are. My husband's, he's the chef. I just get to do the eating. Awesome.